Hey there. Sorry I'm a little late this week, everyone. The Great Northern Suscast was delayed by my beautiful lungs again.
Yeah.
but we're here.
Back. You're turning the corner.
I think we'll get through the... I woke up not coughing my brains out today.
That's a good day. And as we've opened a show before, breathing is not overrated.
No, it's not at all.
It's not bad. So probably you don't want to pick up any reefer, though, and start smoking anything right now.
I will not be. I will not be picking up. Well, Minnesota doesn't have legal pot yet, but I will not be picking up any black market cartridges for vaping or anything like that. Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, I like I don't think any people get to choose their vices, and there's no thing. But I do find it fascinating, and all this stuff that a few people on some kids have died. It's bad, and they do something about it. But there's a lot other things that kids die from that people aren't doing anything for. So yeah. I like the fact that, they get to pick on something that they consider a vice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, that's the hypocrisy of some of that drives me crazy.
Well, this really kind of goes lockstep along with, some other things though too, where, this is kind of funny. Friends of mine, they started lecturing their nephew because he's headed off to college about being super careful about taking any kind of a drug from anybody because of all the crap that's getting mixed into stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, we have learned over the past century, prohibition doesn't work. Because then you drive things underground, and then you have the violence, and then you have bad, people get bad drugs. I mean, there's a very good reason, a very good thing. They still don't know where like Prince got his medication or where Tom Petty got his. Yep. And these guys OD'd on pain meds, but who knows whether they were legal or not, or maybe they came from a source, but that source bought stuff that they didn't know was bad.
I mean, it's terrifying.
But it's going through there, and I know that's so there's just with that out there.
Yeah.
It's going through there. It's frustrating. And the same thing happens with, with people, regulating what they think people should do in their bedrooms.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, when it goes into hurting someone else, then there's rules. Like, that's why we have rules against murder and stuff like that. But honestly, when you're doing something yourself, if you can do something in a safe environment.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to look at some of the stuff because I think a lot of times they glom onto this to distract from other things they're not doing anything on.
Oh, well, there's that. And then let's just factor in the fact that we don't have term limits and people go to Congress. And I don't care. You cannot spend your entire life in the Senate, the House, or a combination of both and not be beholden to special interests.
Yeah, it's too expensive. It'd be really nice to have, in my opinion, publicly funded, because then people would have, exactly where their money came from. It's going through there, but they have decided that money is speech. And so, which I'm not, I think that was pushing it a bit. And but then, it's where we are. So I've sent a lot of stuff to my kid. I mean, hell, I sent her it was really fun when we unpacked. I sent her with a condom. She's like, "Did you put these in here?" I said, "Of course I did. How would I, as your mother, not send you with condoms
to college? In case somebody hasn't been following the story here, Colleen's daughter is just now starting her freshman year in college. So
yeah. So of course,
so you've had that conversation.
Oh, we've had that conversation forever. It was always age appropriate.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Well, just quickly on the drug notes today, a man who was confused about drug laws in Ohio called the police department demanding that officers return the small amount of marijuana that they, quote, stole from him. He called a Sharonville police dispatcher and just went on this expletive-laced rant. And he said, listen, it's legal in Ohio to possess 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of marijuana. And officers seized 4 grams or 0.14 ounce, so really a very small amount, from his wife's purse. And he goes, hey, I need to do a complaint about 2 Sharonville cops. And he goes, they stole my fucking weed last night. And my wife had my fucking weed in her purse, and the motherfucking cops took it. It was really good fucking weed. And oh my God. So they recorded this. Okay, which they record 911 calls. Okay. And the police chief posted it on Facebook with some really hysterical commentary. And he goes, people may be a bit in the weeds, so we'd like to take this opportunity to clear the haze about the drug law, And so, but yeah, he called to complain about that. It was really good weed, Colleen.
I don't know what the rules are in Ohio. So, if they did take something that was, I don't know, but, who knows?
It kind of does sound like if you can have 3.5 ounces, why would they take it? Like that. I mean, the guy might actually have a point. Yeah. So it's just kind of funny. But on a state level, it's still illegal. See, that's where, you got the federal, then some states. Yeah.
I mean, and even I think it went almost county by county in California originally.
Did it really? What a mess.
Stuff like that. I think it's going through there or it's going through there. Or it could have just been that certain county said, we're just not putting any resources into it anymore. You know what I mean? Something like that, where they said, we got other things we got to deal with.
Yep. Oh, so this is really sad, and this would be a hell hath no fury, like a man scorned kind of a case. A South Carolina man is now being held on $5,000 worth of bail. He allegedly discovered his wife was having an affair, and so he set fire to their house. Thankfully, she and the kids weren't in it, but it did burn completely to the ground. And the only person injured in this incident was the man who set the fire. He burned himself.
Oh, yeah,
not productive.
No. If that's your response to it, I'm guessing that there's probably a reason the wife maybe had an affair. Personally, I don't understand why I understand on a logical level why some people don't get out of something beforehand. They think it was going through there, but for the most part, leave. Just
yeah.
But and who knows whether or not. I mean, since he did it. I mean, okay. So if the husband sets the fire because he's that probably made any insurance he had null and void.
That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm sitting here wondering.
But then again, the wife is a victim, so maybe. But who knows who signed the insurance papers?
Well, I'll tell you something because I'm doing a cabin swap right now. I sold mine and got another.
You did? Okay.
Oh well, good. Yeah. Today we were supposed to be closing like right now, but my buyer didn't sign something in time. So we have it's all closing on Monday, but we're pre-signing. It's just it's just super fun. But anyway, so I have insurance on both places right now. Once we start moving, and my husband is named as well, even though I signed everything, I ordered everything, we're both in it. So that is a very, very interesting question. Would they pay for half? I don't know. I think I'm going to ask my agent that because now, not that I'm thinking of setting fire to anything.
Yeah, but see, now you're curious because I tend to do that to people. My brain. See, this is one of the reasons that I don't watch movies that have a lot of terror in them or horror or angst or suspense, because my brain takes the little nugget that I'm looking on screen or even reading, and it goes with it. It fucking runs with it.
But see, you have a very, but see, I believe that I believe that there are many different types of intelligence. Some people are really good at math. I'm not one of them. Some people are naturally really good with words. I'm that way. On paper, stuff like that. You have your very special intelligence that you have. And I mean this as a sincere compliment. I'm not kidding. You will do that, what you just described that you do. And you open up all these other lines of thought, which in my opinion, it makes me laugh because you said you weren't the best student and you're so curious about everything though. Yeah, well,
I did a lot of reading, but I had a very difficult time with the actual classwork.
Okay.
It's going through there, especially, math at the time, but it was the 70s. I mean, but what it did give me the skills is I finally learned if I don't understand something to ask a fucking question.
Yeah, that's probably good.
But it took a long time to figure that out. Yeah. So I annoyed the hell out of my daughter with, if you don't get it, ask.
Yeah.
If you think you get it, ask, because maybe you don't.
Because
of the whole Dunning-Kruger thing where people think they know things, but they don't.
Yeah.
And I just, I laughed. But it's sort of, the school, something just popped in, like going to school and stuff like that. She's, she's in a much larger city than Minneapolis right now. She's really enjoying it. And she's like looking for, just trying to figure out, what's going on, who's going on, and friends, stuff like that. And it's really funny because I get like these texts from her asking me questions. Whereas before I would ask her a question. I'm like, oh, Mom. But now she's, so I go, oh, when was this? Okay, here we go. Or, how to do this. It's really fun. I would just, I was trying not to initiate. Cause when we went to college or did something, you didn't pick up the phone and call.
No.
It was a pain in the ass to do that with your calling cards and all that sort of shit.
Oh, my God.
And now you just text, and I'm like, it's really easy to get a hold.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's on your phone. I mean, hell, you can get birth control on your phone now. Planned Parenthood has an app. Almost all the states are included now. And by the end of next year, I think every state will be included. So you can get health care through an app on your phone through Planned Parenthood.
Okay. That's awesome.
I'm saying, but it's just, it's in your hand.
Yeah.
I just upgraded my my website. The website was pulling to, it was on a shared server and it was dragging it down. So now it's on a dedicated server. So it should be moving faster and doing all that sort of stuff. And I was noticing that the majority of folks that are shopping on my site, thank you very much for going to fantasygiftsmn.com or myfantasygifts.com. That they're doing it off their phones.
Really?
So it's working really well because on that.
And let's just be honest. I'm not saying everybody that uses Planned Parenthood is of the younger age group, but that they really are because, the older you get, the more established you are. Maybe you have your own insurance through work or whatever. So I'm really glad that they're going to the kids where the kids are, which is great. That's great. By the way, okay, just seemingly, let's just bring up a story that you just sent me this week. You must have been laying in bed.
Oh, yeah.
And go ahead and set this up. This was in Australia, I think, about the Libra pads. It's a feminine hygiene company that did some TV ads.
Yeah,
okay, set this up.
What it was okay. I'm sure that everyone is familiar with advertisements for tampons and pads in the United States. It's usually women wearing white, twirling in a field or something, right? They're not doing anything. Or if they do show anything, they show this light blue water on a pad. This advertisement in Australia showed blood, showed a woman in a shower with the blood running down her legs, or a pad, pulling a pad out, and it was bloody and stuff like that. And, a few folks were freaking out. And, I guess there's some sort of advertising board in
like our
stuff
FTC.
Like that. Yeah. And they're like, no, this is a normal, ordinary bodily function.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone might be uncomfortable by the sight of blood does not make it against their rules. Yep. And it was really nice to see because they're talking about periods are menstruation periods are. A little over half of the world's population does this. So to be shunned or embarrassed about it, and people still are. Hundreds of millions of women are still, dealing with issues in their own cultures about. Being unclean and being embarrassed about the fact that this is just a normal bodily function. Yeah. And so it was fascinating to see that. Because it's never been, I was like, it was always it's like I was a cramp woman. It was uncomfortable. It was a pain, but I shared. Because if I was miserable, I was going to share the fucking misery. Because,
okay.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean, stuff like that. But it's nice to see. But the board just said, no, deal with it. It's an ordinary thing. Yeah. This happens. Yep. So get the hell over it.
Yeah, that was really interesting story.
And it was a really, really good story. So I sent that to Megan too, and in the Great Northern. I think I also sent the information. I'm pretty sure about the Planned Parenthood app. So
cool
through there, or I may have already posted it.
On where can people find that?
Either the Great Northern Sexcast page on Facebook, and some of the stuff I put on the Fantasy Gifts page also.
Okay,
double share.
Okay, I think this next one is one of my favorite stories of the year.
Okay.
This is funny and cute, and it's got a happy ending. It's got all the shit that I like.
Oh, I need some cute.
Yeah, this is super, super cute. Okay, so this 30-year-old guy, Eddie Okoro, was gonna propose to his girlfriend, and he is notoriously spontaneous, and this guy sounds like a hell of a lot of fun when you hear the way that he behaves. So he carried this diamond that he bought her around for an entire month, and he was waiting for the right moment, to propose.
I'm hoping it was attached to a ring or something, not just a random diamond.
No, it was. It was a diamond ring. Did I just say a diamond? No, I'm sorry, diamond ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay. So he goes, those who've gone through this and those who will soon find out, you want to propose in a way that speaks to you as a person and as a couple. And he goes, some people do a flash mob, a big meal, or arrange a marry me sign. He goes, I couldn't do that because Eddie doesn't plan. I'm an improviser, and my, my betrothed knows this. Callie, her name is Callie. So he said he's been hiding the ring in plain sight for about a month and taking pictures. And she doesn't see it. So he goes, I took the ring everywhere I went, hoping the moment would arise in line with my style. After a month or so of waiting, I was sitting on the sofa admiring my precious, and he puts in parentheses, I love this. Yes, I became very attached to this ring at this point. He goes, Callie almost caught me staring at the ring, and it hit me. He goes, all these missed opportunities, and he goes, she doesn't know I have it, so I'm going to start documenting these moments. So it escalated into getting as many pictures as he could of her with the ring without her knowing that the ring was there. So in some of them, she can be seen going about her business while he poses with the diamond in the background, like doing selfies. And at one point, he actually puts it on her back while she was looking at her phone. Oh my God. And it's just hilarious. She said yes. It's on her finger now. His Facebook post has 77,000 likes and 24,000 comments, 56,000 shares. Okay. Is that not hilarious?
I think that's a couple that's probably going to last.
Yeah.
It's going through there because she's, she just even though she wasn't aware what was going on, she was perfectly comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going through there.
And to see, to go back and look at the pictures of yourself with this diamend ring all over, visualize. How funny.
I know. I mean, that's just, that would, I think like the thank you notes, if people do photo cards now, need to have like the before picture. And then like one of them, of her wearing it in her dress or something would be spectacular. Yeah. So you are tasty.
I'm getting a leg bath from Fred the studio dog.
Fred, you going to come on up?
I think he's going to come sit by you.
You going to come up?
Yeah, I just love that story. So congratulations to those two. Best of luck.
I love happy couple stories.
Me too. Me too. Now you're getting a bath.
Yep.
So Pink is an interesting person, and she's kind of famous for, just posting her pictures and really going after what she calls the parental police who, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Don't dye your kids' hair, or I think was the most recent and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's really fun because it just no matter what anything a female does, she will be crucified for doing it or not doing it.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much.
Especially so, it's going through there. It's really quite fascinating sometimes.
Well, and she's just an interesting artist all around, in my opinion. But her husband, his name is Carey Hart. He did a really cool 40th birthday tribute to Pink. He's a retired motocross racer.
He was.
Yeah, he was famous too.
Wait a minute. Pink is 40?
Yeah. I know.
Pink is, sorry. I just need a moment for that to sink.
I know.
I mean, it sort of freaked me out by the time. Yeah, I mean, Rick Ocasek passed away, and I'm just like, he wasn't even.
Know.
And I'm just like, oh. I mean, there was some people, sometimes some performers, or go and I go, that's nice, and then this one was like, oh, that's my childhood or my teenagerhood. Well, you know what I mean? It was such a thing, and I guess it wasn't. He had surgery, and I don't know, and then he passed away in his sleep, and stuff like that. But I'm just like, but no.
You know what's funny about him? There's a picture. He didn't look that much different at 74 than he did. I mean, he was always sort of a ghoulish looking person.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The same thing. I mean, I live in, Minnesota. So, we live, so of course, when Prince passed away a few years ago, it was just this thing and stuff like that. But I have to admit, when I guess mainly because Prince was here and I'd seen him live and was younger and I sort of took him for granted and all that sort of stuff and he's gone. But it's like when Rick Ocasek died or even Tom Petty, for some reason I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It just, and I'm like, because they're not, I don't think of them as that much older than me. Some of them were, you know what I mean? It's going through that because you sort of, sometimes performers seem a little ageless. You know, the weirdest thing about social media now is you see folks like, for example, like Molly Ringwald is my age. So seeing her not being like 16.
That would jam your system.
It's a little weird, but I don't know, it just gets a little weird sometimes. You just going through there.
Yeah, and I loved the Cars. I mean, they had great music. And you know what was also sad that I read in addition to the loss of Rick Ocasek from The Planet is the fact I didn't realize that he and Paulina Porskova had split about a year and a half ago. Yeah. They were married for 28 years. And that they seem to be like, that bummed me out.
Did you see the thing? It's like their children had grown. And she said, you know, we were a great four-wheeled vehicle. The four of us went everywhere. Yeah. And then when we were two wheels, we just couldn't keep going on, but they were still, I mean, they were all together with the surgery. Yeah. You know, I mean, it wasn't as though I was going through there. And I sort of like the fact that I didn't know that. Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah. That I didn't know this going through there. I just, oh my God, of course we went wandering off here.
We always do that. Yeah. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fine. Well, anyway, we were talking about Pink.
That's right.
But after her husband, Carrie, did this really cool 40th birthday tribute to her, he shared a photo of what he describes as their punk rock daughter, Willow, who's now 8. She got a cool, partially shaved new hairstyle, which why would that be surprising? Pink does that. And he had a really cool message encouraging people to own their uniqueness. And he said, loving my punk rock daughter, remember everyone, fly your own flag. There's no box to be put in. It's better to be your own self, own it, and love it. And if anybody has a problem, tell them to politely move on. Yeah.
So. One of the things that I've enjoyed as each decade goes by is I just have fewer fucks to give. Yeah. I just, that's what I shared. A friend just turned 50. Oh, and so we all got together for a lovely dinner, and I looked around the table, and I'm just like, I've known it's impossible that someone is turning 50, and I've known the majority of the people at this table for like upwards to 38 years. Wow. You know, trying to do that math there was really quite bizarre. I was like, oh my God. But I said, but that's amazing. Well, that was my advice. Or just you know, you're going to have fewer and fewer fucks to give.
Well, my friend that actually works with me at my day job, she lives in another state, but she's flying in. We've been friends since we were 14. Mm-hmm. I mean, and we were adding up the math the other day, and it's like, ooh, let's not do that. Let's just no.
but you know, but that is just amazing because I mean, that's special. Yeah. I mean, that's really, really amazing to have friends like that. And I think that really happens well when people are in long-term relationships because you know that the communication is good. Yeah. And the one thing that we talk about, I mean, you know, I've said it, we're coming into the holiday season. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when couples come in together to shop, that's spectacular because they're communicating about what they would like to do, what they would, you know, is going through there. You know, if you come in by yourself and say, I want to do something as a surprise, unless you talked about it before, you know, it's not going to work. Yep. But communication like that is spectacular. Yep. And it really, and it's from everything from being a friend for, 40 plus years to buying a vibrator. Mm-hmm. You need to talk about these things.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have not seen this movie. I think I probably would like to because I will proudly state that I am a J-Lo fan. Hustlers. Yeah.
Hustlers. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hustlers. I think she's just splendid, spectacular. I love her as a rom-com actress. I don't really know her music that much, but I think she's beautiful and talented.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the movies she's been in, even though they've been silly. Because when I go, harken back to the other earlier conversation, for me, media is to laugh, relax, do something. I don't need to be scared or to learn something because I can do these things other places. Right. But this movie is supposed to have, it's getting really good reviews. Yep. They're saying she's spectacular and everybody else is. Lizzo, it seems, is in it. She's an artist that lived in the Twin Cities for a few years. Yep. And she is a big, beautiful woman. It's going through there. And it's been really fun sort of seeing the reactions to this. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't know what the movie Hustlers is about, it's based on, it was inspired by a woman named Samantha Barbish, which makes you laugh because it's spelled Barbash, which, okay, she is, she was a leader, basically. She's an ex strip club hostess, and they were accused of luring Fortune 500 company owners, rappers, and soccer stars into strip joints, spiking them with MDMA or ketamine, and then getting thousands and thousands of dollars. So this film is, has her, J-Lo, playing this Samantha character, and they target married men. And so she said, look, these guys, I'm still friends with a lot of them today. If I'm so bad, why would they still be talking to me? And she tells stories about this one Fortune 500.
So in other words, like insider trading or just or this upright stealing cash from them. What's going through there?
Well, she describes it as them spending up to $400,000 a weekend.
Okay, so in other words,
partying and drugs, and she just set it up for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so and she said, so I'm not such a terrible person because they paid us to do all this. And she and her immediate crew didn't do like the guys would be snorting coke off their boobs or their butts. She said that was, the lower tier. We didn't do the really sleazy types of things, but other people did, and they'd go home with them and whatever. So I would like to see this movie.
I've seen some of the clips, and I've seen the costuming. I'm just wondering if that will inspire the dancers in current businesses right now. I was going through there because we have some dancewear. We used to sell more, but that's. But then the concept of the juice bar opened up like 25 years ago. So you can be nude as long as you don't have booze. Yeah. So there's not as much going on. And then burlesque, you need a decent thong or this or that. But for the most part, those are all custom. Yep. So it's not as big of a deal. But my Crystal and St. Paul stores have some dancewear in it.
Really?
For folks who are going through there.
Very cool.
But I saw some of the stuff and I was like, that must have been. The reviews do look good, and it's going through there, and I'll be curious. I probably won't go to a theater. I haven't, been interested in that for a while. But as soon as it comes on, I might actually pay for it at home. Yeah, I don't think there's anything on that particular screen that I would need to see in a large format. Yeah, some films, you don't need.
Oh, speaking of films, Downton Abbey is coming.
I have never watched a moment of it.
After years and years of people telling me I'd love it, my husband and I watched it, and he loved it as much as I did.
What? Okay, no, I think it's on Netflix or something. It might be. Was it Hulu? No,
Prime, I think.
Prime.
I'm gonna say Prime. That makes sense. I'm pretty sure it's either Prime or Netflix. But I think it's Prime. It's just, what? I think it's the era and all of the things that were custom, and it's just fascinating. And the actors are great.
And it sounds like there's some that the female characters are not milquetoast.
Oh no, no. Yeah, they were very.
They worked within the times, but they got what they're. But I have to admit, I can be stubborn about I've never seen any of it. And I don't like jumping on the bandwagon late.
I don't either.
Because do you realize that I've never watched Sopranos or Breaking Bad or Mad Men and stuff like that? Because a lot of times I'm not as interested in something that just goes on and on and on. Yeah. I just don't have the energy to invest in. And I know you can binge now and keep going, but I tend to get a little bored quickly with stuff like that. Yeah. Although I've rewatched Father Brown Mysteries and Midsummer Murders and Will and Grace because it's 30 to 45 minutes and I'm done. Yep. Yeah. I just shows that are cliffhangers. What's going to happen? Do that. I'm like, how much do I want to invest in this? Yeah. But that's me. That's
I like the pay to play way that I finally. Oh, by the way, congratulate me. I finally canceled cable. Yep. And so we are a total internet, Roku, Hulu based house now.
I just got a new TV because I had a Sony DVD that I was streaming through, but Sony doesn't have. If you're having problems, Sony doesn't have agreements with Netflix and Hulu anymore to stream through their devices. Oh, so I just ran to Target and I bought a TV that has some of the stuff built in. Now it took me an hour to go in and I put an app on my phone and click on Netflix and Hulu and Acorn and Prime and put all in my passwords and oh fuck, which email did I use? That sort of shit.
Brutal.
But I did do it, and now I can run it off my phones because the old system of having to use your remote control and arrow up and arrow down to put something in pain in the ass, it's so much easier to just type something into an app on the phone. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm sure that anyone under 30 is like, yeah, I've been doing this forever, but I finally did it and it wasn't too bad.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they it takes a while to figure that stuff out. Mm-hmm. Okay, Times Square, New York is a very interesting place if you've never been there. Mm-hmm. But a lot happens there. And, just this week, they've arrested someone who is accused of casing Times Square, among other places in New York and around the country, for possible terror attacks. It's a lot happens there. But this particular story is about the costumed characters there. Mm-hmm. And what they did is
or the uncostumed characters, if you talk about the naked cowboy, the guy just in the tidy whities.
That's right. There's that too. But they literally spent hours. They did a study, and they literally documented incidents and interviewed people, and they've got stats on how often these characters misbehave. So check this shit out. The Times Square Alliance is the group who commissioned this report and found that more than a third of American tourists had a gripe with the costume creeps. So one person said, like, Elmo grabbed her boob. And this is a 68-year-old woman. Somebody else said they didn't appreciate being grabbed, like, as they were trying to lure them in to pay them to take a picture or things like that. This is non-consensual activity, and they're pissed. 22% of city residents said they had bad, experiences, unwanted physical contact, and 47% of actual resident New Yorkers say they've had an issue with those guys.
I wonder if you're wearing like an Elmo costume that because your face isn't seen, it's sort of like being on the internet. You get to be an asshole because you're slightly anonymous.
Yep.
But because I saw folks there.
Yep.
I mean, I haven't been there in about 9 years now. It was one of the last times I was in New York. And I saw, plenty of folks. But, I was with my kid, and I'm really good at telling people to back off or maneuvering around things and doing stuff. Yep. So I would be in the percentage that probably went, huh? Yeah. Really? This happens? Yep. Because it's going through there. But if, anyone who's on the street trying to pass out a flyer or get a picture, I mean, there's a lot of competition for that.
Yep.
And so you're going to have, asshole street performers just like you're going to have asshole anything else.
Right.
But honestly, that seems to be a slightly larger percentage than I would have thought, is going through there.
Listen to these numbers. They found an average of 24 unwanted touches per hour during periodic spot checks, and then they looked at peak hours and months. So they put the statisticians to work, which does make me laugh a little bit. But 120 to 160,000 incidents per year in Times Square. Be careful. Just saying.
What's really funny is these assholes are going to ruin it for the folks that actually have that they need to pay their bills. And if they dress up as a Statue of Liberty and take pictures with folks, and that's how they can make a living, that's great. And then these assholes are going to ruin it for the folks that are making a living that way, because they're going to end up banning or doing something like that.
Right.
It would certainly, But then again, New York has a rule for almost everything, so I can see them, creating laws that just make it difficult to do anything. But then again, it is Times Square. You're supposed to, it's supposed to be a little gritty, even with a Disney store and an M&M's candy store there.
Yep. Yep. I didn't, of all the things to see and do in New York, Times Square didn't do anything for me.
No, I only passed through it because I went there. We hit a few museums and we went and saw shows.
Yep.
So I stayed nearby because 10 years ago. My daughter would have been 10 or 11 at the time. So I didn't want to have to spend an enormous amount of time on public transport and stuff like that. Because if we're seeing a show, by the time it's done, she's exhausted. And I'm, stuff like that. Yeah. And I just, but I did get a chance to, you have to book it way in advance. But folks, you can, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's, still doing it. But you can walk up the Statue of Liberty and you can look out the Crown and stuff like that. You can't I don't think it let people up into the flame anymore. It's just, that's be too many people up and down and stuff like that. Oof. But you can, and it's like a double spiral staircase. Mm-hmm. So as you're going up one side of the spiral, on the other side is down. So it's not like you're passing people. I had no idea. But it is fascinating. And it was really nice to do that. Mm-hmm. But you have to like book your times and your tickets and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. Mm-hmm. More doctors sharing tales about bizarre household objects they've had to remove from butts.
I am truly fascinated over the fact that, I mean, you suppose like 10,000 years ago, people got like oblong rock stuck in their asses. I mean, let's go through. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a forum apparently, and some snippets were taken from, it was a doctor's forum expressing frustration. And one doctor said he wants sex toys to come with, quote, ripcords for easy removal after pulling one too many out, which what do they have? Right things.
They have appropriate anal toys that have flanges and that cannot get stuck, because once something gets past that sphincter muscle, it's in there. And it's really and the thing is, I think folks are figuring out, because our anal toy section it gets larger all the time. It's going through there.
Well, one doctor said he had found a funnel, a cucumber, and a bag of pills, while another said light bulbs, champagne glasses, even an umbrella. And another doctor said sex toys are far safer than random household objects. One woman said she had to remove an apple branch from a patient's rectum. She said the recipient claims to have run an orchard and seemed to have tripped, leading to an awkward landing.
I tripped and fell on this item is a lot like, here, hold my beer. You just nothing good can happen after the I tripped and fell statement.
Yeah.
Or I should say nothing true happens after I fell statement.
Right. Nothing true happens. It's funny. You should always seek medical advice as soon as possible if you get a foreign object stuck in your rectum, they write. But here's my deal. Okay, now doctors, like within that large overarching profession, there are specialties. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now think about this. An ER doc, not anybody, and I think you can agree with me, can be a jack of all trades. Everybody is good at something. Mm-hmm. So if you're an ER doc, what if you get the guy that's not good at removing or has to? It's like that's kind of scary. Might be somebody else who's really good at that.
I'm pretty sure once that's probably going to involve more surgery. I think you probably go from the ER doc to a general surgeon at that point.
Yeah,
and I don't.
I suppose
because and then they have hospitalists now. So they have then they have an overall doctor that sort of tries to coordinate all the folks you're talking to. It's really sort of a fascinating thing. But
yes,
because I've had, with the lung issues and a few things, and then the stupid gallbladder and all that, I've been in the ER a few times, and the folks said, okay, let me get this other person or this or that, just go. They know, like, okay, I think it's this, but I'm going to consult with, so the foreign objects in your ass. People are just really. And it's not just a U.S. thing. We run across stories worldwide. People want to put inappropriate objects in one's ass.
Yep.
And I pretty much spent 30 years now telling people that there are inappropriate objects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, let's change the subject here because I actually have a hilarious parallel to this. This was in USA Today, and this woman who's getting married told her bridesmaids, wear whatever you want. And that's becoming increasingly popular. And they'll usually say, wear one color.
Oh, yeah. It's long. Yeah. Just wear, here you go. Here's some choices.
Right. Mm-hmm. This was the sister of the bride, and she wore a T-Rex costume.
I saw this.
That's hilarious.
And I am just, it's really funny because I just like, I've had pretty good, I've been in a lot of weddings. It's been years now, stuff like that. But I had really good experiences in them. It was sort of fun. And it was long ago before the trend of wear whatever you want. Sometimes it would be, here's like 3 or 4 dresses, same manufacturer. Here you can go, this is the color. So you can get the best look for you, it's going through there. But, and of course, T-Rex didn't, costumes didn't. I still want one.
I know. Don't you want one?
I want one. My friend has one. They got one for Mother's Day. And by the way, if you get into a bouncy castle, you have to bring it in there and put it on in the bouncy castle. But T-Rex in a bouncy castle is one of the funniest fucking things ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's funny and it's obviously heartwarming, but I'm pretty sure I would not want a T-Rex. Not unless you were like, if it was a really casual, because I saw these pictures. The other women were dressed. It wasn't like they were, just stand. That sort of bugs. I don't know. There's a little there's part of me that thinks certain occasions should be a little more formal.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. My wedding was so non-traditional that I don't have much to say, but I will say that everybody involved in the story is fine with it, so nobody was offended. But I got to tell you, so came home. The first day of school was not too long ago. And I'm driving home. I was getting home early, and the school bus was coming up the street. So, of course, I slowed down because I don't know what's going to happen. It stopped to let the kids out, and this dad, this family's just moved in down the street from me, comes bouncing out of the house in a T-Rex costume
to meet the kids.
To meet the kids at the bus. All the little kids were like plastered up against the window like, wow. Bus driver was pissing his pants laughing. And the kids, I mean, what a fun dad.
Yeah. I never had to, my daughter took the bus for a couple of years, but it was like 3 houses down from where I was. And I never stood there. I didn't. I never stood there. It was going through there. And then after a while, she started walking. Okay. It was going through there when she went from, she had a school that went from like kindergarten to 2nd grade, and then one went from 3 to 8. And pretty much by the time she was in like 4th grade, she's like, oh, screw the bus. And she just walked to school.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, fine. Yeah. Going through there. So, but I see those parents every morning and every night. And I get it if it's, you have to know your kid.
Yep.
And if the street's pretty busy. It's going through there. I get that if you have, the ability to do that. But I'm pretty sure that I would have worn. I would have, if I would have done that. I've seen the parents that have dressed up every day in something different to say goodbye. Just different things. There's a dad that it's just a costume like every day.
Well, okay, that's a little much.
As their way, but I think it started because the kid was being sort of a crabby little shit, and they're like, okay, and then they got used to, then they became expected.
Oh God! Well, I just think that's a riot, and T-Rex has been getting a lot of press. So
yeah, I mean, T-Rex Tuesday is a Facebook site or something like that, and I'm like, and I've seen a couple different ones. I've seen one that sort of looks like the dinosaur from Toy Story.
Perfect. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep, and a few other things. I'm like, I really think I need, a T-Rex. And the thing is, it's, earlier I was saying I don't tend to do things that everybody else is doing, but I have to admit there's something about the T-Rex that I'm like, but I want one.
Well, Colleen, and you should have it if you do.
Yeah.